Hey, everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Welcome to the show. It's our last week of disaster month, mayhem. We are going to wrap it up with one last movie coming up later this week. It's going to be Mars Attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Mars Attacks. You can rent
Good.
that digitally if you would like to get a head start and watch that so you can talk about it with us later in the week when that comes out. Subscribe on YouTube, So Many Sequels, or wherever you get podcasts. We'll be dropping that there. You can go to SoManySequels.com for all that stuff. But let's get things started on this show about what we've been watching this week. David, it looks like you've caught up on a couple interesting movies. Recent awards darling and that Kieran Culkin movie.
Yes. Yeah, I rewatched or I didn't rewatch. I watched A Real Pain from last year,
Yeah,
and I gotta say, wonderfully crafted. Did you guys both get to see this?
I did. Yes, I really enjoyed it.
No, I didn't get.
You know, it has in terms of like the story, very simple layout. You're just kind of with these two characters as they go on a tour through Poland. You know, they're kind of learning about the life or at least the land that their grandmother grew up in. But just the characters are so well crafted. They feel so relatable. And so at times, you know, you love them. At times, you might really, disagree with them. They're just, everything about it feels very natural, but without, but still interesting. You know, sometimes you can go too naturalistic with something and it kind of just becomes a little bit dull. Never really the case here. And at the same time, you know, it's funny without being like hammy or reliant on like weird gags or anything like that. It's very, very authentic. So great job. I can see why Culkin was nominated or won the Academy Award for I think supporting actor is what he's nominated for. Even though you could make an argument that he's the lead as well. So yeah, really well done. Really enjoyed it.
Is it not enough that he's gotten all of the praise for Jesse Eisenberg's movie? Can you let it be supporting?
Well, they should have. I mean, I think they really should
I
have
think that's
given.
part of the joke between them.
I think a harder amount of consideration should have been given towards giving Jesse Eisenberg like a best original screenplay or whatever.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think that is streaming on Hulu now, so recommend checking that out. Then what was the other one?
Oh, Dogman.
Yeah, Dogman.
Yeah, we
because
decided
we
to-
need to cover all demographics on this
Yeah.
show.
We
This
went
is
Yeah,
ahead.
you're the only one who can be our true child kid friendly movie expert.
It's true. We went ahead for whatever reason,
Picks.
and we not bought, but we rented this for Jack to watch because it had been in theaters, but we haven't really had much luck with him and sitting through a theater experience at this point. It's just kind of
Yeah,
it's
still
just
not
kind of
quite
long.
there.
But he seemed to really enjoy this. It was pretty cute. It was pretty fun. It's very silly. It's you know, the inspiration is our books written by the same guy who wrote Captain Underpants, if you guys remember those books. So it's very goofy and very childish at times. That said, it also has a lot of like meta humor. It reminded me of like the Lego movie in that regard, or like the Lego Batman movie, if you guys have seen that, where I think there's a lot of jokes here that like adults will also think are very funny. It's loaded with comedians and SNL alums like Sherry O'Terry, Pete Davidson, Melissa Vias. I can't remember her last name.
Villasenor.
She's in it. So like, it has a lot of genuine laughs in it. So I think it was pretty much everything that you could want for a little kid for a movie that's kind of targeted towards little kids. So also very enjoyable. At least I think some parents and some adults probably get a kick out of it too at times.
Well, that's our kid review of the day.
It gets me another 2025 film on the books too.
Oh, that's even better. I did not
That's
realize
true.
that movie came out this year.
Yeah.
On a completely different side of the demographic, I got to see 28 Days Later It was put in theaters last week, so I went to see it. I had not seen it
Nice.
since a bajillion years ago, probably on, like, rental, because I didn't see it in theaters the first time. And it was, they got 28 years later coming out next month
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
June, depending on when this drops. But man, what a different take on the zombie movie. Even still today, 20 some odd years later, however long it's been. I don't know the math, but
28
it
years.
still feels really fresh. Is it exactly? Yeah, I guess
No,
that's
but
I guess it is.
it'd be really funny if it was. I mean, if it's not, that's a
I
missed
think it is like
opportunity.
2004 or 5, so it could be 20 or 21. But zombies are always like, even today, still often portrayed as moving slowly and all that. This was one of the first major movies to have them be like running at you at breakneck speeds, and it made it so much scarier. The just premise overall is Cillian Murphy in his first film role. Another thing I learned recently watching watching it this time. He is involved in like an accident and is in a coma and wakes up and the world has ended. He wakes up in the hospital and the virus is spread and he's got to figure out what the hell's going on because literally everyone's gone. It felt like something that must have inspired The Walking Dead when that show came out because it felt very reminiscent of the pilot to that. So
Yeah, sounds like it.
it made it very scary. It was really harrowing at times, like super disturbing. Some of the ways the zombies are portrayed. I'm really excited to see how Danny Boyle does this new take since 28 Weeks Later was not him. I'm excited to see how much of
Are
it's the same.
you?
It's very artsy, weirdly artsy.
Yeah, it looks like it. I was terrified to see it as a kid, so I never saw it. I'm very excited to see it now as someone who better understands and appreciates horror. I'm very excited for this one. Are you planning to do all of them in the lead up to 28 years?
I think I would like to. It's not like it's just, as far as I know, there's only the
There's
3,
just the
Yeah.
so
two,
I
yeah.
think I just need, or just the 2 now, yeah. So I probably will, even though I've heard that I've never seen Weeks Later. I just know that it involves entirely different people and
Yeah.
creative crew, so I don't know how much of it is canon or not.
Where were you able to
Yeah, I might
watch
watch it.
28? Where were you able to watch 28 Days Later?
28 Days Later came out in theaters, so I watched it at the
Ooh.
local AMC last week. It did say it had a, like, preview screen before that said it's available to rent digitally on Amazon now. So I assume it's available probably wherever to rent digitally
One
because it was not available for a very long time. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, one thing I heard about it is that like the way that it's shot is kind of like an older aspect ratio or something. Like it was something like the cameras they used at the time were like
Yeah.
a type of camera that made it kind of hard to upgrade to like Blu-ray or upgrade to like the
Part of
new
the
digitals.
artsiness that I was talking about too is how it's shot and portrayed. But the other cool thing was after the credits, there was a special extended scene from 28 years later that
Oh.
had featured Aaron Taylor Johnson, and it was pretty creepy. Pretty creepy. So I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somebody
Um,
needs to make zombies scary again.
yeah, so maybe Danny Boyle will bring him back. And then to wrap up my things I've caught up on, I went to see the new movie Friendship, which is the Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd movie. Caught that
Yeah.
last night.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know really how to describe it, but I laughed so damn hard multiple times throughout it. It to say it's like, I don't know, a lot of people want to quickly say it's like an extended I think you should leave sketch. Not really. It's still like even more, there's more to it than that. But he is very much whatever this Tim Robinson character is. It's very much him.
Yeah.
But it's a movie about male friendship, and I'm very curious to hear what other people think, particularly other men think of it as it comes out because his whole thing is that he's weird and awkward, right? In a lot of ways. And it's so extreme, but I felt like watching it a lot of times. I was like, "Oh, see, he's being extremely crazy in reality, but in my mind, that's what I think other people think of me."
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, I bet they think I'm that weird."
Yeah, I believe
So
that.
I'm curious to hear what people think.
I'm really excited to see it. There's not a lot of movies that look at male friendship in a way that's not like douche bro. You know what I mean? It feels like.
Yeah,
And I think it is something that needs to be explored because I tell you what, unless you are a huge sports fan on something, doesn't really necessarily matter what, or you like to cook meat, there's not much else that is bonding small conversation with the men at the party, let me tell you what.
it can be hard, yeah. It's very hard. Those are the things they like to talk about, us
Yeah,
men.
yeah. And so,
Sometimes.
I have been in situations where
Sometimes.
I've been like, hey man, what do you like to do whenever you're not working? And they're like, I don't, what do you mean?
Cook meat?
I just thought you had some interest, maybe not. So it'll be interesting to see. These two are very
Yeah.
weird, and so I don't think the target audience will expand outside of those people who are excited to see it for Paul Rudd and Tim. But I'm one of those people, so forward to it.
I gotta tell you, it was a small theater, but it was full.
That's great.
It was
There you
full.
go.
So,
Of men?
it made it better because it was like I wasn't the only one laughing out loud. Like, it was a very fun movie to watch with the crowd because some of it is just so outlandish. But yeah, recommend it.
That's good.
Recommend it.
That's good.
All right, let's wrap up our catch-up segment. Well, Garrett, I want to hear where are we at in the Three's Company journey?
Yeah.
We need an
So
update on this.
yeah. Well, this is the first time I think I mentioned it because we took it off there, but I've been watching Three's Company. It's streaming on Peacock.
Yeah,
I found
maybe
it.
we've talked about it off.
We've talked about it. Yeah. I used to watch Three's Company on Nick at Night when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
This 1970s show, a man living with two women, and the only way he was allowed to live there via the landlord was that the girls told the landlord he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
And so going into this, knowing the premise, I was really like, ick. I was like, oh man,
Yeah, I
this
can see
show
that.
that I loved as a kid with John Ritter, who is one of the funniest comedic actors that has graced our television sets. I was like, it's gonna suck and it's gonna be offensive, and I'm not excited about it, but I'm gonna watch it. And so I'm in season 3 now, and I gotta tell you,
Okay.
listen, I am not a member of the LGBTQ plus community, but I consider myself an ally. But I am not gonna talk about that aspect. What I will talk about is what
Right.
I
Sure.
am surprised. I am surprised at how little that piece of him being gay really shows up. It does, and it's usually just for Mr. Roper. He's the only one who knows that. And so every now and then, Jack has to put on a little bit of flamboyancy and kind of lean into it. But he never shies away from it, and I thought that was a surprise. It was really, they'd never really go approach this as a way of like making fun of gay people. And I was really surprised by that. Now,
Yeah.
again, somebody in that community might have a different opinion and would welcome that opinion. But for me, I have found it to be mostly just a comedy of errors and misunderstandings. And occasionally that is one of the errors and misunderstandings that has to pop up. So I have been surprised. There's been some things that are like, okay, that doesn't hold up well, but nothing that has been truly gross, I would say.
Yeah, as I remember it, sometimes there was a little bit of humor in the aspect of a gay character, but usually the laugh was on the sort of over the top repugnance of the Ropers or Mr. Furley in later seasons. Like their old fashioned stances was kind of the laugh line of them being, you know, sort of freaked out by
Right.
by the idea of a homosexual person. And you know, it was, you know, Jack's portrayal of it, and occasionally gay men weren't always probably always super tactful, but
Correct.
He's playing
But
it
he's
up
leaning into a
just
stereotype and playing it up.
he's leaning into a stereotype. The harder he does, the more it alienates Mr. Roper to leave, which is ultimately the goal, is to just
Right.
get them out of the house or out of the room.
Yes.
Yeah, but
And I
I
gotta say
remember
the
Three's Company being hilarious.
Oh yeah, and it's still very funny. John Ritter is a comedic timing genius and a physical comedy genius. I mean, the things that he does, and I've never seen another actor like it on a TV show since like Dick Van Dyke, truly. Like the way Dick Van Dyke revolutionized sitcom for that generation, I feel like
Mhm.
John Ritter is that of the 70s, and I haven't found any, like, I've never seen another show that leans into that kind of physical comedy in that way. And so I truly have appreciated that. And it's also structured like a play. Every single episode, it's live, it is timing. People are going in and out, it's doing it live. It's not scene, 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 scene. And there's something that feels different about it, and it makes it so much funnier, I have. So it's been a really fun rewatch, and I have been really surprised.
It may not be every episode, but there's a classic sort of slamming doors type comedy that happens with some like Three's Company a lot, where like one person exits a room and the other person enters, and context has changed between those entries and exits, and now all of a sudden they're in like a way different, like it's just, yeah, classic misunderstandings. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking off mic about if it could be rebooted today, and I think actually it makes a lot of sense because that was a show of the 70s.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's a show of economic hardship, or a decade of economic hardship. We're kind of back in that time frame again, where three adults sharing an apartment together because that's what they have to do is kind of getting maybe normal again, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, is it time?
Could be.
And I think
It'd be
enough time has
interesting to
passed
see.
that, like, there's always like bringing back old shows, but they've done it with shows that are way less, I think, way less fun than Three's Company. They've brought back shows.
That's very true. Let's talk about our new segment of the week, which is a short one. Really, just one major thing that stopped my scrolling, and I had to go back and read it. Michael Bay is bringing us a Skibidi Toilet movie. That's the headline.
Yeah.
That's the headline.
There you go.
I'm sure it means something to someone.
It does mean something to someone. So
I am not that one.
I want to. No, we're not that one. This is Skibidi Toilet. I've learned is Gen Alpha humor, which
Okay.
was news to me because I thought it was a Gen Z thing for a while. Apparently, it's even beyond them. And Gen Alpha is. I've been trying to wrap my head around what is their humor, and the best I can gather is that it is intentionally nonsense. It's not supposed to make sense in a lot of ways, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've seen the Skibidi Toilet meme, which I thought it was a meme. It's not even that. That's also reductive. It's a whole YouTube show that is a wildly popular, viral animated series that is about a dystopian war between two factions. The Skibidi Toilets, which are literally toilets with a man's head popping out of it, and they sing a song, a catchy Skibidi Toilet song. There's toys. Let's sing it. And then there's the humanoids, which are people, but their heads are electronic devices. And they're warring. That part I don't know why. And that at least helped me to understand how a movie could be made. And now I really understand why it's Michael Bay.
Wow.
I
Okay.
feel like I don't know if Michael Bay can do I don't know if he has the nuance to handle something like.
I don't think he has the nuance, but I think he knows everything about a toilet war.
My question is this going to be based on your description of the characters? Is this going to be live action? Is this going to be animated? Is this going to be one of those like Disney, it's not real, but it is real type situations where everything looks CGI, but also they want you to think it's real? Like, I mean, that sounds like it is a difficult thing to make
See
look
that
and take
Yeah.
seriously if it's not a cartoon?
That's a real question because part of the Skibidi Toilet thing is that it is intentionally ugly. Like, they
Mhm.
intentionally use, like, old software to make it look like outdated 3D graphics. So, part of what they have to do to, like, land the Skibidi Toilet ship, which is the sentence I think I'm the first to say, is you have to make a movie that looks intentionally bad and doesn't make sense? Michael Bay, baby. Come on.
I mean,
It all
you
makes sense in the end.
you are
We'll
not
see.
wrong. I don't disagree with that.
We
I
just
don't
covered
disagree with the
Armageddon,
take.
which David heavily did not like,
Was honest about. I was I was just honest.
which is
That's his
fair, which is
Skibidi
fair.
Toilet or
So
Skibidi.
we'll have to see. You'll have to let us know, if that enters your dad sphere anytime soon, and we have to add Skibidi Toilet to the kid corner, kid review.
Jack's under whatever's Jack's beneath whatever's Gen Alpha. I'm not even sure what Gen Jack is.
Ooh, oh my gosh, are we already I don't wanna get into it. I don't wanna get into it. So, if this is any indication of what we have to get used to in the future as more toys and, like, kid IP becomes made into films, I don't know what's gonna happen. Back to movies that do make some sense. We have a new trailer from Darren Aronofsky's new film, Caught Stealing, that
Mhm.
actually looks pretty fun, and unlike some of the stuff I've seen from him before, we got what's his name? Elvis. Austin
Austin
Butler
Austin Butler.
Butler.
Yeah.
has been asked by
Austin.
his neighbor, a very punk rock Matt Smith, to watch his cat, and he gets roped into all kinds of shenanigans, it
Mhm.
seems, from the trailer. What do you guys think about it?
Trailer's worth watching just for Matt Smith and a
Yeah.
mohawk. I mean, that was
Mhm.
dope right
True.
there. When I realized that's who that was, I was very excited. I think it looks like a lot of fun. Again, the last movie I feel like I saw with Austin Butler was The Bike Riders, and it was really
Mhm.
good. I mean, that movie stands out. It was a surprise. Elvis, I thought he was great. So he is a really good actor. So I think that he tries to do a lot of fun things. Zoe Kravitz is also good in everything that I have seen her in, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm going through the cast here. In addition to Matt Smith, we've got Vincent D'Onofrio, who's a wonderful actor.
Mhm.
DeFaro
Always great.
Woon Atai, who is in Reservation Dogs. Liev Schreiber, Regina King, so like Bad Bunny apparently is in there. So it
Bad Bunny. Yeah.
looks fun and it looks like my kind of crazy. So I'm excited
Mhm.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, uh, it looks very fun, frenetic. Austin Butler is kind of I'm gonna sort of put him in the same category as his Dune castmate Timothée Chalamet. Dude's just putting together a really eclectic group of movies in his filmography. Like, it's just all over the place,
Right.
and so really standing out to me in that regard. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to catch this. It comes out August 29th of this year, but I kind of look forward to looking into it. It looks different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Caught Stealing. Go check out that trailer on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet. All right, David, this has been the well, so we're working with estimates right now, but the biggest Memorial Day weekend in box office history, is it not?
Yes, it is on par to be. I mean, the early estimate is that this will be the biggest Memorial Day weekend of all time. So far, Friday through Sunday, the top 10 is at 260 million, which beats the previous record holder, 2013, which had 248. That was the year that Fast and Furious 6 and The Hangover 3 came out. The 4-day total for that particular weekend was 306 million. We're on pace to hit over 325 million. That's just for the full top, all the movies that released. When you break it down to the actual, like, each film, Lilo and Stitch is on par to bring in 145 million for the 3-day. Looking like it's going to be over 160 million for the 4-day. That would overtake Top Gun Maverick from a few years back, I think 2022, making it the number one Memorial Day opening weekend, thus getting Stitch his revenge for Minority Report in 2003. Little fun fact: Lilo and Stitch weirdly has a connection to Tom Cruise across time, because when the first Lilo and Stitch movie came out, it opened against Minority Report and lost
Ooh,
in the number one spot by like a couple $100,000.
have
So
to
here
have a
it
rubber
is
match
facing
with
off with
those
Tom
two.
Cruise again. Here we are, because we got Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning scheduled to bring in 63 million for its 3-day, maybe between 75 and 80 million for its 4-day. So a decent open for Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. The highest open that the franchise has had. That said, the budget for that film got ballooned thanks to COVID, the writer's strikes. Pretty much everything pushed that budget higher and higher. It's got as reportedly roughly 400 million. So like it's going to be very difficult for that movie to make its full money back. That said, worldwide opening was over 120 million this weekend. So maybe we'll see where it finishes. Final Destination Bloodlines is number 3 in its second weekend with 19.6. Thunderbolts is number 4 with 9.1. And then Sinners still in the top 5 with 8.7. I'll throw in a few more here for you. Friendship, the movie Josh reviewed just a minute ago, that had 4.5 million this weekend in the number 7 spot. A movie I saw the trailer to when I went to see Sinners was The Last Rodeo, which is like it's a rodeo movie with Neil McDonough, Michael
Yeah,
T. Williamson.
I think it
Like,
was shot here in
it looks like a
Oklahoma.
very fun Oklahoma movie. It was, yeah, shot right here in the state of Oklahoma. So, a few other new movies. That's some of the other new movies. Then, coming out next weekend, Karate Kid Legends is one of the new big opens. So, got that coming up.
Karate Kid.
Yeah, starring Jackie Chan and Daniel-san.
Ralph Macchio.
Macho.
Ralph Macchio.
Still
Yeah,
never
I'm
found
excited.
out if
I need-
what's his face Zabka's in it.
Where's is it what? What's his name? Because I almost said Joey Lawrence.
That is Johnny Lawrence.
Johnny is
Johnny
not
Lawrence.
Joey Lawrence. Is one of those Lawrence brothers.
Don't know that we're going to be seeing Jaden Smith either.
Oh
his
yeah,
name?
probably
yeah.
not. Yeah, he was in the Jackie Chan version, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. We'll see. I still need to finish Cobra Kai on Netflix, so maybe I'll get to that eventually. All right, well that's gonna do it for this episode. Like I said at the top of the show, we've got Mars Attacks coming up later in the week to wrap up our Disaster Month Mayhem series. So be sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, So Many Sequels, for that, or wherever you get podcasts. We have videos on YouTube and on Spotify, and the audio is in all the podcast apps. I have yet to find an app where it's not there. I don't really understand RSS feeds, but they work. So go find one and subscribe to it. You can find all those links at so manysequels.com. Okay, we will see you guys next time. Bye.